Welcome back to our podcast, everyone. Today, we're diving into a very important topic, mental health. We'll explore practical strategies to support our mental well-being in our busy lives.
Absolutely. Jennifer, mental health is often overlooked, yet it plays a crucial role in how we feel and function daily. Listening to podcasts like ours can really help improve your listening and communication skills while also offering valuable insights on mental health.
Right, engaging with content like this not only broadens your understanding, but also provides practical tips you can apply in your own life. So let's get started. To kick things off, let's define what mental health really means. How would you describe it, Thomas?
Mental health encompasses our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act in our daily lives. It's essential for making decisions and relating to others.
Exactly, and it's important to remember that mental health is just as vital as physical health. We often hear about physical well-being, but mental health deserves equal attention.
For sure, 1 in 5 adults experiences mental illness in a given year, which is a staggering statistic. Understanding mental health helps us recognize its importance in our lives.
And the more we talk about it openly, the less stigma there is surrounding it. We can create a supportive environment for ourselves and others.
Absolutely. Open discussions can help people feel less isolated and encourage them to seek help when needed.
Now let's talk about self-care. How important is it in maintaining mental health?
Self-care is crucial. It involves taking intentional actions to nurture our physical, emotional, and mental well-being. When we prioritize self-care, we're better equipped to handle stress and challenges.
I agree. Simple activities like reading, exercising, or even taking a walk can make a significant difference in our mood and outlook.
Exactly. And self-care doesn't have to be time-consuming. Even short moments of mindfulness or enjoying a hobby can rejuvenate us.
Yes, I often set aside time for myself to recharge, and it truly helps me stay grounded. What about you, Thomas?
I try to incorporate small acts of self-care into my daily routine, like practicing gratitude or enjoying a cup of tea in silence. These moments help me reset.
It's essential to recognize when stress is creeping in. What signs should we look for, Thomas?
Common signs of stress include irritability, fatigue, and difficulty concentrating. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed or anxious frequently, those are red flags.
Absolutely. I've also noticed physical symptoms like tension headaches or stomach issues can be linked to stress. Our bodies often communicate what we're feeling emotionally.
That's a great point. Listening to our bodies is essential. When we notice these signs, it's a signal to take a step back and reassess our situation.
Sometimes, just acknowledging that we're stressed can help us take proactive steps to address it. What do you do when you recognize these signs?
I try to pause and identify what's causing the stress. Then I can determine if it's something I can change or if I need to adjust my response.
Having a support network is vital for mental health. How can we cultivate strong connections, Thomas?
Connecting with others is so important. Whether it's friends, family, or colleagues, having a network we can lean on makes a huge difference.
Definitely. It's about quality over quantity. Building deeper relationships with a few people can provide a strong foundation for support.
And it's not just about having someone to talk to during tough times. Sharing joyful moments and experiences with others can enhance our mental health, too.
Exactly. I find that engaging in activities with friends or family helps strengthen those bonds and creates lasting memories.
Creating those shared experiences helps us feel connected and valued, which is vital for our emotional well-being.
Let's discuss seeking professional help. When should someone consider talking to a mental health professional?
It's a good idea to seek help when stress becomes overwhelming or starts to interfere with daily functioning. If someone feels persistently sad or anxious, professional support can be very beneficial.
Absolutely. Mental health professionals can provide tools and strategies to cope with various challenges, making it easier to manage stress.
And there's no shame in seeking help. It shows strength and self-awareness. Everyone experiences struggles at some point, and reaching out can be a crucial step toward healing.
It's also helpful to educate ourselves about different types of mental health resources, like therapy or support groups. Finding the right fit is key.
For sure, everyone's journey is unique, and exploring various options can help find what works best for each individual.
Mindfulness is a popular topic these days. How can practicing mindfulness improve our mental health?
Mindfulness helps us stay present and aware of our thoughts and feelings without judgment. It can reduce stress and increase overall well-being.
I love practicing mindfulness. Even just a few minutes of deep breathing or meditation can help clear my mind and reduce anxiety.
Exactly. I often recommend starting with short sessions. Apps or guided meditations can be a great way to ease into mindfulness practice.
And it's not just about meditation. Mindfulness can be incorporated into daily activities, like eating or walking, to enhance our overall experience.
That's a great point. The key is to be present in the moment, which can shift our perspective and help us manage stress better.
We all experience negative thoughts from time to time, but the way we manage them can significantly impact our mental health. Thomas, how do you personally deal with these intrusive thoughts?
It's all about catching the negative thought early and not letting it spiral. I practice a technique called cognitive reframing. When I catch myself thinking negatively, I ask myself if there's any evidence supporting that thought or if it's just my mind playing tricks on me.
That's such an important practice. Sometimes we let our emotions drive those negative narratives, but when we stop and challenge them, we often realize they're not based on facts.
Exactly. I also remind myself that thoughts are not facts. Just because I think something doesn't make it true. I find it helpful to counter those negative thoughts with more balanced, realistic ones.
I use a similar approach, but I add journaling into the mix. I write down my thoughts, and as I put them on paper, I can objectively look at them and ask myself, is this really true? Often, just writing them down already reduces their power.
That's a great technique. Journaling brings a level of mindfulness and reflection that helps us to organize our thoughts and recognize patterns. It's like giving your mind a break from holding on to everything.
Exactly. And another thing that helps me is surrounding myself with positivity, whether it's affirmations, motivational quotes, or even just talking to supportive friends. Those small steps can combat negativity.
Absolutely. Positivity isn't about ignoring negative emotions, but rather balancing them with constructive, positive input. That can really shift our mindset.
Now let's talk about exercise and mental health. We often hear about how physical activity benefits our body, but it's equally important for our mind. Thomas, what's your experience with exercise and mental well-being?
For me, exercise is like a mental reset. When I'm physically active, I feel more present, more grounded. It's not just about getting fit, it's about releasing stress and boosting my mood. When I go for a run, I come back with a clearer head.
Absolutely, exercise has this incredible way of boosting endorphins, the feel-good hormones, which naturally improve your mood. Even a short workout can make a huge difference in your mental clarity.
Exactly. The benefits aren't limited to intense workouts either. I think sometimes people get discouraged, thinking they have to do a strenuous routine. But even something as simple as taking a brisk walk or practicing yoga can be incredibly beneficial for mental health.
I'm glad you mentioned yoga. For me, yoga combines mindfulness and physical activity, which really helps to reduce anxiety. It's a time where I focus on my breath and let go of any mental clutter.
That's such a good point. Yoga brings a meditative element into the practice, which makes it a double benefit for both the mind and body. It allows you to slow down and be in the moment, which is crucial for mental health.
And it's not just the immediate effects. Regular exercise helps build resilience. The more consistent we are, the better we become at managing stress long term.
Definitely. It's about creating habits that promote mental health over time, not just during a workout.
Let's dive into another essential factor for mental health: sleep. Thomas, how much does sleep affect your mental well-being?
Sleep is non-negotiable for me. If I don't get enough rest, I notice a huge difference in my mood and ability to concentrate. I become irritable and less patient, and my stress levels skyrocket.
I'm the same way. Sleep has such a profound impact on mental health, yet it's often one of the first things people neglect. When I'm well rested, I can handle challenges much more effectively.
Exactly. Sleep helps restore the brain, processes emotions, and allows our bodies to recover. Without it, we can't function optimally. I think prioritizing sleep hygiene, like having a consistent bedtime routine, is critical.
I agree. Creating a peaceful bedtime routine, whether it's reading, taking a bath, or turning off screens an hour before bed, can make a huge difference in the quality of sleep we get.
And it's important to note that everyone's sleep needs vary. While some people thrive on 6 hours of sleep, others need 8 or 9 to function at their best. It's about knowing what works for you.
Absolutely. Listening to your body and ensuring you get enough rest is crucial for maintaining good mental health. Let's talk about another daily aspect of our lives that directly impacts mental health: nutrition. Thomas, how do you think food affects how we feel mentally?
Food plays a huge role in how we feel. It's not just about fueling our bodies, it's about fueling our brains. When I eat well-balanced meals, I notice I have more energy and mental clarity. But when I indulge in junk food, I feel sluggish and unmotivated.
I totally agree. There's a strong connection between what we eat and how we feel. A diet rich in nutrients, especially those that support brain function, like omega-3 fatty acids, can make a world of difference.
Exactly. Foods like leafy greens, nuts, fish, and fruits are known to improve cognitive function and mood. On the other hand, highly processed foods can lead to energy crashes and mood swings.
I've found that eating mindfully also helps. When I pay attention to what I'm eating and savor each bite, it improves my relationship with food and prevents emotional eating.
That's a great point. Mindful eating can really transform how we connect with food and our bodies. It helps us listen to our hunger cues and make better choices.
And of course, staying hydrated is key. Even mild dehydration can affect our concentration and mood.
Absolutely. It's all about giving our bodies what they need to function at their best.
Social media is a huge part of our daily lives, but it can have both positive and negative effects on mental health. How do you manage your screen time, Thomas?
I try to limit my screen time, especially on social media. While it's great for staying connected, it can easily lead to comparisons or feelings of inadequacy. I've found that setting boundaries, like taking breaks or only using social media for a set time each day, helps keep it in balance.
That's so important. Social media can sometimes create unrealistic standards for success or happiness, which can negatively impact mental health. I try to remind myself that what I see online is often a highlight reel, not the full picture.
Exactly. I think it's all about curating a positive digital environment. Follow people who inspire and uplift you rather than those who make you feel insecure.
I completely agree. It's also helpful to take regular digital detoxes, where you disconnect from screens altogether and engage with the real world.
Absolutely. Those breaks can do wonders for mental clarity and help us reconnect with ourselves and those around us.
Let's shift to something more uplifting: gratitude. How do you incorporate gratitude into your daily routine, Thomas?
I try to practice gratitude every day, even in small ways. Whether it's writing down 3 things I'm grateful for or just taking a moment to appreciate the present, it really shifts my mindset.
I love that. Gratitude has such a powerful effect on our mental health. It helps us focus on the positives in our lives, even when things feel challenging.
Exactly. When we practice gratitude regularly, it rewires our brain to notice more good things. It's not about ignoring problems, but about acknowledging what's going well in our lives.
I've found that practicing gratitude also deepens my relationships. When I express appreciation for the people in my life, it strengthens our bond and creates a positive atmosphere.
Absolutely. Gratitude is contagious. When we express it, we encourage others to do the same, creating a cycle of positivity.
Boundaries are essential for maintaining our mental health, especially when it comes to balancing work, relationships, and personal time. Thomas, how do you approach setting healthy boundaries?
It took me a while to understand the importance of boundaries, but now I make sure to protect my time and energy. I've learned to say no when I need to, even if it feels uncomfortable. Setting clear expectations with others is key for me.
That's such an important skill. It can be hard to say no, especially when we don't want to disappoint others, but overcommitting often leads to burnout. Boundaries help us preserve our mental and emotional well-being.
Exactly. I also make sure to carve out time for myself, whether it's for exercise, hobbies, or just unwinding. When I respect my own boundaries, I feel more balanced and less stressed.
I completely agree. I think a lot of people feel guilty about setting boundaries, but in reality, it's a form of self-care. It allows us to show up as our best selves in other areas of life.
Definitely. Boundaries are about recognizing your limits and protecting your peace. It's not about shutting people out, but making sure you have the energy to be there when it really counts.
Another way to boost mental well-being is by finding joy in small moments. Life can get overwhelming, but focusing on the little things can bring so much happiness. How do you practice this, Thomas?
For me, it's about slowing down and appreciating everyday moments. Whether it's enjoying a cup of coffee in the morning, spending time with my dog, or simply watching the sunset, these small joys keep me grounded.
That's beautiful. I've started doing something similar. When I'm rushing through life, I try to pause and take in my surroundings. Even something as simple as listening to birds chirping or savoring a delicious meal can be a moment of gratitude.
Exactly. When we appreciate these little things, we're reminded that joy doesn't always have to come from big achievements or events. It's right there in our day-to-day lives.
I think it's important to note that we can create joy too. Doing something creative or trying a new hobby can bring a sense of fulfillment and happiness.
Absolutely. It's about shifting our focus from the stressors to the positive experiences, no matter how small. Over time, this practice becomes second nature.
Self-compassion is another crucial component of mental health. How do you practice being kind to yourself, Thomas?
Self-compassion didn't come easily to me at first, but I've learned to treat myself like I would a close friend. When I make a mistake, instead of beating myself up, I remind myself that it's okay to be imperfect. We're all human.
I love that approach. We often hold ourselves to impossibly high standards, but practicing self-compassion allows us to accept our flaws and mistakes with kindness.
Exactly. It's about acknowledging that we're doing our best, and that's enough. Self-compassion has helped me avoid the cycle of guilt and negativity.
I find that when I'm kind to myself, I'm also better at extending kindness to others. It's a ripple effect.
Absolutely. When we show ourselves grace, we become more understanding and empathetic towards others. It's all interconnected.
Let's talk about the importance of routine. I find that having a consistent routine helps me manage stress. How about you, Thomas?
Routines are essential for me. They give structure to my day and help me feel more in control, especially when life gets chaotic. I start every morning with the same set of activities: stretching, drinking water, and planning my day.
That's great. Having a routine, especially in the morning, sets a positive tone for the rest of the day. It's like giving yourself a foundation to build on.
Exactly. And it's not just about morning routines. I think having evening routines, like winding down with a book or some quiet time, can also help signal to your brain that it's time to relax.
That's so true. A routine helps us balance the demands of the day, and it creates a sense of stability that can be really comforting. Conflict is a natural part of relationships, but how we handle it can make a huge difference. Thomas, how do you approach conflict?
I try to stay calm and not react immediately. When emotions are high, it's easy to say things you don't mean. I take a step back, breathe, and try to listen to the other person's perspective.
That's such a healthy approach. I think listening is often overlooked, but it's one of the most important things we can do during a conflict.
Absolutely. I've also found that using I statements like I feel instead of you did helps avoid blaming and keeps the conversation more productive.
I agree. Approaching conflict with curiosity rather than defensiveness helps create a space where both people feel heard and respected. Procrastination is something most of us deal with at some point. How do you overcome it, Thomas?
I break tasks down into smaller, more manageable steps. When a task feels overwhelming, it's easy to put it off, but if I focus on completing one small part, it's much easier to get started.
That's a great strategy. I've also found that setting deadlines, even self-imposed ones, can help create a sense of urgency that pushes me to take action.
Definitely. And I reward myself after completing a task, no matter how small. It gives me something to look forward to and keeps me motivated.
That's a great idea. Celebrating those small wins can make a big difference in staying on track. Work-life balance is something many people struggle with. Thomas, how do you maintain that balance?
I set clear boundaries between work and personal time. When I'm done with work for the day, I try to disconnect and focus on other things, whether it's spending time with family, exercising, or just relaxing.
That's so important. I think a lot of us have a hard time switching off from work, especially with remote working and the constant connectivity through emails and messages.
Exactly. That's why having dedicated personal time is crucial. It allows you to recharge and come back to work more focused and energized.
Let's talk about the healing power of nature. Spending time outdoors has been shown to improve mental health. What's your experience with that, Thomas?
Nature has a calming effect on me. Whether it's a walk in the park or a weekend hike, being surrounded by greenery helps clear my mind and reduces stress.
I feel the same. There's something about being in nature that puts things into perspective. It's a reminder that the world is much bigger than our day-to-day worries. Laughter really is the best medicine. How do you incorporate humor into your daily life, Thomas?
I make time to watch funny shows or movies and try to keep things light with friends. Laughing helps release tension and improves my mood instantly.
I agree. Humor helps us cope with stress and brings people together. It's a great way to lighten the mood, especially during tough times. Letting go of things beyond our control is easier said than done. How do you approach this, Thomas?
I remind myself that worrying about things I can't control only adds stress. I focus on what I can do and let go of the rest. It's all about acceptance.
That's a healthy mindset. Acceptance brings peace, and it allows us to move forward instead of getting stuck in frustration. Building positive habits can truly transform how we feel and function daily, not only mentally but also physically and emotionally. It's interesting how little steps like drinking more water, moving your body for just a few minutes each day, or even getting enough sleep can create a ripple effect over time. What's your strategy, Thomas, for creating lasting habits?
I couldn't agree more, Jennifer. I've always found that starting small and being consistent is what truly makes the difference. It's not just about making a big change all at once that can feel overwhelming. Instead, I focus on making one tiny adjustment and sticking with it for a few weeks. For instance, when I decided to start exercising more regularly, I began with just a 10-minute walk each day. Over time, that walk turned into 30 minutes, and now it's a part of my daily routine.
That's such a great way to approach it. I think a lot of people feel discouraged when they set massive goals and can't stick to them right away. But by building up slowly, you create habits that last. The small wins motivate you to keep going.
Exactly. It's all about sustainability. Once you prove to yourself that you can maintain a small habit, you naturally want to build on that success. And I also celebrate the little victories along the way. Rewarding yourself for progress, even if it's just a small treat or acknowledging how far you've come, really helps maintain momentum.
I love that idea of celebrating progress. It's easy to overlook the small achievements, but those are the stepping stones to bigger changes. And when it comes to mental well-being, establishing these habits becomes part of a lifestyle that supports long-term health.
Absolutely. And it's important to be patient with yourself. Building habits isn't about perfection, it's about progress. If you slip up one day, don't beat yourself up, just get back on track the next day.
Before we wrap up, I'd love for us to reflect on the overall conversation about mental well-being and self-care. There are so many facets to it, from maintaining positive habits to handling stress and finding balance in our lives. What would you say is the one thing that you find most crucial, Thomas?
I think, for me, the most essential aspect of mental well-being is awareness. It's about being mindful of how you're feeling, understanding what's causing stress, and recognizing when things feel out of balance. Once you have that awareness, you can start to take steps to improve your mental health, whether it's by setting boundaries, practicing self-care, or reaching out for support when needed.
That's such a great point. Awareness really is the foundation for everything. Without it, it's hard to make changes or understand what's truly affecting us. For me, I think self-compassion is equally important. It ties into awareness because once we're aware of our emotions and challenges, we need to respond to ourselves with kindness and patience rather than judgment.
Yes, self-compassion is something many of us struggle with, but it makes such a huge difference. When we're kind to ourselves, we allow room for growth, and that helps with resilience. And ultimately, mental well-being isn't a destination, it's a continuous process of nurturing yourself.
Exactly. It's ongoing, and it's okay to have ups and downs. The key is to keep finding ways to nurture your mind and body so that you can be the best version of yourself. And as we've discussed today, small changes and self-awareness go a long way in supporting mental health. Now, let's talk about something I think a lot of people can relate to: feeling overwhelmed. With so much going on in our lives, whether it's work, personal commitments, or the daily stressors we face, it's easy to feel like everything is piling up. How do you manage those moments, Thomas?
When I start to feel overwhelmed, I find that taking a step back and breaking things down into smaller, manageable tasks really helps. Instead of trying to tackle everything at once, I focus on one task at a time. I also remind myself that I don't have to do everything perfectly. Sometimes just getting something done is enough, and I try to let go of that pressure to be perfect.
That's such a useful approach. I think when we're overwhelmed, everything feels urgent. But by prioritizing what's most important and letting go of the need to do it all perfectly, we can reduce some of that stress. For me, I also try to take breaks throughout the day. Just a few minutes to breathe, stretch, or clear my head can make a big difference in my mental state.
Exactly, Jennifer. Breaks are so important. I used to push through when I was overwhelmed, but I realized that taking a short break actually helps me be more productive in the long run. Whether it's stepping outside for fresh air or just walking around for a few minutes, it helps reset my mind.
It's amazing how a small pause can bring clarity and reduce that sense of being overwhelmed. It's like hitting a reset button. And I think it's important to acknowledge that feeling overwhelmed is normal, especially in today's fast-paced world. The key is how we handle it. Another topic that ties into mental well-being is the impact of social media. It can be both a source of connection and a cause of stress. How do you find balance with social media, Thomas?
Social media is definitely a double-edged sword. On one hand, it allows us to stay connected and informed, but on the other hand, it can lead to comparison and overwhelm. I've found that setting boundaries with my social media use is key. I limit the time I spend on it, and I try to be mindful of the accounts I follow. If something makes me feel anxious or negative, I unfollow or mute it.
That's so important. Social media can easily become a source of stress if we're not mindful about how we engage with it. I've also started taking social media detox days where I completely disconnect from it for a while. It helps me refocus on the present and my own life rather than constantly comparing myself to others.
I love that idea. Social media detoxes are a great way to regain a sense of control. It's easy to get caught up in the endless scrolling, but taking a step back helps us be more intentional with how we use these platforms. It's about finding balance.
Managing time effectively is a big part of reducing stress and improving mental well-being. What time management strategies work best for you, Thomas?
I've found that planning my day in advance helps me stay organized and less stressed. I usually start by listing out my tasks and then prioritizing them based on importance. I also block out specific times for each task, which helps me stay focused and avoid multitasking.
That's a great approach. I do something similar with time blocking. By assigning a specific time for each task, it helps me focus on one thing at a time without getting distracted. I also try to set realistic goals for each day so that I don't overwhelm myself with too much to do.
That's key, being realistic with your time and energy. It's easy to overestimate how much we can accomplish in a day, but giving yourself a manageable workload leads to less stress and more productivity. And I always leave room for flexibility because things don't always go as planned.
Exactly. Flexibility is crucial. Time management isn't just about being strict with your schedule. It's also about adapting when needed. Expectations, whether self-imposed or from others, can often lead to stress. How do you manage expectations, Thomas?
I try to set realistic expectations for myself and communicate clearly with others. It's important to recognize your own limits and be honest when you can't meet certain demands. I also remind myself that it's okay to say no sometimes.
I agree. Managing expectations is about setting boundaries and being upfront about what you can and cannot do. It's important not to overcommit or push yourself beyond what's reasonable. As we come to the end of our conversation on mental well-being, what's your final takeaway, Thomas?
I think my final takeaway is that mental health is a journey, not a destination. It's something we have to actively work on, just like physical health. And it's okay to ask for help along the way. Whether it's talking to a friend, a professional, or just taking time to practice self-care, the most important thing is to keep prioritizing your mental well-being.
Absolutely. Mental health is an ongoing process, and we need to be patient with ourselves as we navigate the ups and downs. Thank you for joining me in this conversation, Thomas, and thank you to all our listeners. We hope these discussions inspire you to take care of your mental well-being and remind you that it's okay to take things one step at a time.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's been a great conversation, and I hope our listeners find value in what we've shared. Remember to take care of yourselves, everyone.